Stuart Curtis.
Let's go, Stuart!
Junior number 7, Carlos Reyes. Senior number 8, Uriel Gonzalez. Sophomore number 9, Boba Ubuenya. Senior number 10, Ozzy Ramirez. Junior number 11, Anthony Ariola. Junior number 12, Victor Rios. Senior number 13, Moises Mendoza. Junior number 14, Logan Bond. Freshman number 15, Brian Sanchez. Junior number 16, Logan Bond. Junior number 17, Ivan Ortiz. Sophomore number 19, Cameron Tenney. Senior number 22, Slava Ubuenya. Junior number 99, Jacob Glenn. The Redhawks are coached by Tony Vandermeer, assistant coaches Bryce Burton, Alif K, and JV assistants Christopher James and U.S. Valley. Now introducing our Central Panthers. Junior number 1, Zachary Cisneros. Senior number 2, Christian Lua. Senior number 3, Tony Cortez. Senior number 4, Moshe Martinez. Senior number 5, Alex Jimenez. Senior number 6, Brian Ortega. Sophomore number 7, Omar Ceja. Senior number 8, Marco Rosas. Senior number 9, Eduardo Gonzalez. Senior number 10, Sebastian Diaz. Senior number 11, Brandon Lopez. Sophomore number 13, Owen Lamaster. Freshman number 14, Andy Rincon. Freshman number 15, Edwin Paroquin. Sophomore number 18, Gerardo Acevedo. Junior number 19, Omar Paroquin. Senior number 99, Taylor MacArthur. The Panthers are coached by Joe Orozco, JV coach Jorge Figueroa, JV2 coach Gerardo Garibay, assisting Roberto Arteaga and Carlos Flores. Now if you can all please rise and remove your hats and turn to the south side of the field for our national anthem.
Good evening, sports fans, and welcome to another exciting edition of High School Sports here on your High School Sports Leader. Tonight, a matchup of 5A soccer powers. We're here at Central High School in Independence, Oregon. It is the Central Panthers and the South Albany Redhawks. Hi, everybody. I'm Dave Hall. I'll be doing the play-by-play here in the first half. Working with me, my broadcast partner, Josh Warden. And Josh, this is, when I say a matchup of powerhouses, these are two teams. This is actually the first conference matchup for both of these teams. They play in the Mid-Willamette Valley Conference.
Yeah, this is really a great matchup. Both of these teams 0-0-0 in MWC play. South Albany, the third-ranked team in the state at the 5A level, and Central coming in at the number 5 team in the 5A level. So this is a really high matchup. South Albany, in fact, number 1 in the state in their RPI ranking. The official OSAA one is number 3. But two top 5 teams tonight here at Central High School.
I cover Newport a lot in 4A soccer, and South Albany played Newport early on and beat the defending state champions 4-1, I believe it was. Yes, 4-1. 3-1, a win for South Albany. So both of these teams have had exciting non-conference matchups, and they start tonight. If you look down there, you can see South Albany is to our left. They're in their white tops, their red bottoms, red lettering. The Central Panthers are to our right, black uniforms with white lettering. So very distinctive on both teams.
And you've mentioned the fast pace of play that South Albany has, probably their defining factor. They did graduate 9 players from last year's team, so you may not see the exact same type of names from last year's team, but head coach Tony Vandermeer tries to get that same style of play, attacking, similar pace to last year, even though we see a lot of new faces on this year's squad. Last
year I had the chance to do 4A, 5A, and 6A soccer, and South Albany was clearly the fastest team I saw.
Really solid team. All 9 of those players that graduated, Coach Vandermeer said, had college scholarship offers.
Wow.
Some, just community college for a lot of them. Not everyone took them, but 6 of those players now playing at the collegiate level. 3 of them redshirting and 3 of them getting time this season.
All right, in goal for South Albany, it's Jacob Glenn. He's to our left. In goal for Central is Zachary Cisneros, and he's to our right. We're underway. Ball out of bounds. It'll be a throw-in coming up for Central. The JV game just completed ahead of this. It was a 2-2 tie. Central to throw in. In the middle, in front, there's a shot and high. Shot by number 14 for Central, and that is Andy Rincon.
Already a chance for Central, and Rincon coming in from his midfielder spot. He's a freshman. And he got a good look at it. I like the speed from Central, get a chance early.
South Albany quickly down on a long pass. Tried to get something set up in front and could not.
This is Carlos Reyes down in the corner. The junior midfielder, but loses it.
Central forward, dishes ahead. See if they can get something into the middle. And a nice run that time by number 10 for Central, Sebastian Diaz. Quickly, though, South Albany got back on that, broke that up.
Yeah, Omar Garcia, the senior wearing number 5, got back in play. He was a step behind, but managed to use his speed, get back in front, and make the play. Way to not give up on behalf of Garcia, the defender.
Throw in for the Redhawks.
The South Albany team started off strong, but they have a loss and a tie in their last 2 matchups. They haven't won a match in 2 weeks now.
In the middle, knocked away. Good job defensively that time by the Redhawks. Redhawks in the middle, send it forward. You see the speed by South Albany. The goalie that time has to come out and get that. Zachary Cisneros.
Yeah, I like the pace of play of both these two teams. Getting chances early, nothing on goal yet today, but both teams have moved the ball back and forth and gotten into opponents' territory. So good to see the pace of play on both sides.
We're in Independence, Oregon. This is Central High School. These are Mid-Willamette Conference teams. South Albany, of course, from Albany, just down the road. Ahead, South Albany on the run. Down the left side, sent it towards the middle and behind the net.
Ubenya, the one trying to track that one down, almost got it back. I would have liked to see him trying to cross it back in the middle for Reyes, who was making a run towards the center of the field, but Ubenya couldn't quite track it down and turn it back towards midfield.
There's the kick all the way out to midfield.
Nice power from Cisneros on that goal kick. I'm impressed.
Panthers drop back and they'll send it back to the goalie, Cisneros.
Cisneros, a good goalie, and this defensive team has played well. They have 2 clean sheets on the season already. They blanked both North Bend and McMinnville.
And early on, Josh, the Panthers are showing an affinity to want to come down the left side.
Yeah, Andy Rincon, one of the guys on the left flank there, and Marco Rosas will be 2 of the guys we'll see on the left side a lot tonight.
From the left, sent ahead, and that goes out. Be a throw-in coming up for the Redhawks. We've only had one real legitimate shot towards the goal, and that happened within the first 30 seconds of this match. 35-20, Central in the middle. And good job defensively that time by the Redhawks. Couldn't get a shot away for the Panthers. The ball at midfield. Sent ahead on the run.
And Ubenya again, can't quite, a couple times right in that same spot in the field. A little bit too far out in front of him, but I like the positioning for Reyes, kind of waiting towards the middle of the field, and if Ubenya can cross one back in towards him, he'd be in good positioning for a header.
Both teams feeling each other out. We're 5.5 minutes into this game. 2 40-minute halves. Here comes Central forward. And cleared out by South Albany.
Good speed from Lopez, Brandon Lopez, the senior forward, trying to make his own way down the pitch. Gets Central into scoring position.
Skyhawks have everybody forward. They just have 2 defenders back. Here comes the throw-in for Central. Nice high throw-in in the middle and headed off to the right.
Lopez was the one who got some contact there but couldn't quite push it back on frame. But good opportunity for Central. You get enough of those situations. Eventually some of those will get on goal. And I'm sure that their head coach, Joe Orozco, is fairly happy so far with the effort, the chances they've gotten, and some opportunities already early in this match for the Panthers.
Josh mentions Central ranked number 1, South Albany number 3. The Panthers are the defending conference champions.
A lot of parity in this conference from last year. I mean, you get a team like Corvallis that beat Woodburn and Central, but then lost to Woodburn in the state championship game. But South Albany was right there at the top. Central ended up being the conference champion, but by no means were Central far and away the best team. There are a lot of teams right there up at the top, close with them, and South Albany one of those teams. This is why this matchup to open up the Mid-Willamette Conference season is perhaps one of the best matchups we'll get all season.
And neither one of these teams is going to have to worry about Woodburn in the state tournament because Woodburn is no longer at 5A. They've actually dropped down to 4A. Think of that, a team that dominated 5A, yeah. 5 state championships, wow. Now is playing at 4A. Long shot, and that will go out.
I remember traveling to watch the 2009 state championship in Corvallis and Woodburn, and that Corvallis won that game, but that Woodburn teams the last 10 years have been very solid.
There's the throw in. Cisneros comes out and gets that. Another driving kick. And cleared out. That'll go out of bounds. It'll be a throw-in coming up for South Albany. When you got a goalie that can consistently kick the ball out to midfield or beyond, it's a great start on your offense.
Flips the field a little bit as South Albany getting a chance in the box. They've got 3, 4, 5 guys down there.
In front, there's, I'd like to call that a shot, but it was more like just kind of off the side of the foot, off to the left.
Yeah, I think there was a missed call there, tipped off of Central, and at first it looked like they're going to call that a goal kick, and now I think the center referee, Raul Medrano, made the right call, and I believe they are giving South Albany corner kicks from our angle. It's pretty easy to see that ball deflect off of a Central defender.
Josh is right on that. It's going to be a corner kick for South Albany. South Albany brings players forward. Can't get the ball. It was a low kick.
Ubenya, the one kind of came in, almost tried to go back heel on it and flick it with the back of his foot, but that's a hard play to make. Didn't make contact, and Central gets it out.
We're 10 minutes now into the first half. 30-30 left to go here in the first half. No score. Central and South Albany. High up in the air. Goalie pushes that away.
Dangerous play. Cisneros about as good as he could have. I'm sure he would have liked to get a little better contact on that, but that was right in front of the face of the goal, and Cisneros did a good job to be the first one to get there.
Another corner kick. I couldn't tell whether he was going to try to hit it with his hand or his head.
I think it was his fist that he was going for.
Punched the ball. There's a shot, and that's wide right.
Anthony Areola kicking a little bit high, but we saw that we were watching the JV team, and South Albany got up 2-0, and both of those goals that they scored were about from the spot where Areola just shot that one, about 20 yards out. We got the football field lines on here, so it's easy to kind of mark exactly how far away these players are, and actually the goal is about 6 yards past the goal line, so really it's 25, 30 yards away that the South Albany JV team scored a couple goals on, and Areola wasn't too far off frame on that last shot.
Screamers, those goals were. They were just rockets. In front, there's a shot, and Cisneros falls on it at the right corner. I'm not sure that was on goal. It looked like it might have been right at the corner, but Cisneros falls on it. Goalie kick.
Ozzy Ramirez, the one with the shot. I think it might have been just on frame, so nice job by Cisneros to make what could go statistically the first save officially of this contest.
Exactly. South Albany takes it away. Sends it forward, and that goes out, and that's going to be a throw-in coming up for Central. Thanks for joining us here at Oregon Sports Beat. We have another soccer game coming up for you Thursday night. We'll be in Newport for Sisters and Newport. There's the throw-in.
Well, that's a team that South Albany faced to open up this season. The Redhawks getting that win 3-1 over Newport. And although Newport was the 4A state champion 2-time, they haven't looked as good this year, Dave.
No, they're 3-4. Two-time defending state champions of 4A, two-time Oregon Coach of the Year, Holly Richardson. All right, free kick coming up for Central, right about the 50-yard line. Beautiful facility here at Central. Long kick, headed away by South Albany. South Albany in black. I'm sorry, South Albany in white and red. Central in black. You'd think the Redhawks would be in red. In front, there's a pass, cleared away, and they'll punch that out of bounds.
A chance for Omar Seha, one of his first times he's gotten a chance like that, but nice job by the Red Hawk defense to get back and kick that one out.
3 referees working this game. Central referee and then 2 lines.
2-referee system that they use in JV games. It's tough. They do as good of a job as they can, but it's hard on counterattacks to come back with a 2-referee system.
Try to go in front, blocked there by the Red Hawks.
First corner we've seen tonight for Central, so Sebastian Diaz, the one for the Panthers, to kick it on the left side of your screen.
So both teams have had offensive chances. Both have been in the other's offensive end. In the middle, there's a header and gets away from the goalie but goes off to the right and goes out.
Yeah, Glenn, the goalie, just touched his hand almost like he wasn't sure if he wanted to go out and grab it or let it go off frame out of bounds, and he definitely got a piece of it. So Central will get another corner, this time on the opposite side of the field.
Headed over there to take that corner kick. It looks like number 7, Omar Seha.
Seha, one of the left fours, he's a sophomore.
There's the kick and over everybody's head. Central with the ball. No score. And there's the ball loose in front. Cleared away. Looked like trouble for a second.
Lopez looked like he might have had a shot right near the box, but good positioning for the South Albany defense. Didn't have a clear look at the goal.
25 minutes left to go here in the first half. So far there's been 1 actual shot on goal, and that was actually by Central with a save by Cisneros. I'm sorry, the shot on goal was by South Albany. The save was by Cisneros. Taken away, and taken right back away in a whistle, and that'd be a foul. The foul's going to be on number 7 for South Albany, Carlos Reyes.
South Albany was pushing a little bit right there. They pushed some numbers up. They had the 4 defenders back, but right before that foul happened, I was thinking if Central can get this ball back, they'd have a chance for a counterattack, because South Albany may have been caught a little bit out of position with the midfielders kind of playing past the ball a little bit.
Long kick that time on the free kick. A couple of headers there right at midfield, back and forth. Central comes down with possession. Andy Rincon, number 14 there. There's the ball. I'm not sure it was intended for anybody.
Nobody.
And there'll be a throw-in for South Albany. On the throw-in, it looks like it's going to be Juan Palacios.
Seems like Central has created a few more opportunities so far, kind of evaluating pace of play and total possession. I think Central will get a slight edge, but both of these teams have had a few shots and pretty similar opportunities. So far pretty evenly matched, and as well on the scoreboard, still scoreless.
This is an important game for both teams. It's the conference opener for both teams, especially important for Central. You don't want to lose games lose home games.
Yeah.
Out on the left wing comes South Albany. Battle for the ball. Redhawks still have it. Pass intercepted. And Panthers with the ball. Goalie comes out. Cisneros made a decision to go out after that ball.
Yeah, Carlos Reyes getting one of the first runs with an opportunity, but Cisneros coming in, still holding that clean sheet, clinging to it.
Redhawks, of course, used to be the Rebels. They were the South Albany Rebels. When did they make that change, Josh?
It's about two years ago, give or take. I forget exactly. But yeah, they were Rebels for a long time. Just changed a couple of years ago.
Corner kick coming up. Low kick, knocked away by the Panthers. Now there's a high kick up to the corner, and there's the ball in front and over the net. Right in front on the shot and chipped it over the goal.
That was Stuart Curtis, the defender, playing very close up to the goal from his center defensive spot. And he's not going to get very many opportunities from that position this season. Chipped that one just over the goal. I'm sure he'd like to have that one back.
He 9-ironed it over the goal there.
Yeah.
That goes out. It'll be a throw-in coming up for South Albany. No, let's see. No, the call is off of South Albany. Throw-in coming up for the Panthers. Approaching the halfway mark of the first half. Still no score.
It was in the late first half period when the JV game started to get high scoring. It was scoreless until the last few minutes of the first half, and then 3 goals were scored, 2 by South Albany, 1 by Central, and then the Panthers got 1 more in the second half to force a 2-2 tie. Sebastian
Diaz on the throw-in. And there's a whistle. That's going to be a foul on Central. Be a free kick coming up for the Redhawks. Foul would be on number 11, and that's Brandon Lopez. And Cisneros yells, "I've got it," and goes out and gets it. Cisneros is a junior. In fact, both goalies starting tonight, Jacob Glenn and Zachary Cisneros, are juniors. Wow, long kick by Glenn that time. And they'll head that back to the goalie.
Goalies are just playing catch right now.
Right.
About 80 yards apart.
South Albany will send it back to start over. The interception. There's a shot wide left. Defender pretty much had that sealed off.
Yeah, it was a nice defense on the back end. Garcia in there. Stuart Curtis was the one who gave it up. Omar Seha came in for Central and made a nice interception, but Omar Garcia helping his teammate out. I'm sure Stuart Curtis would have felt pretty bad after giving up that ball if it had turned into a Central goal, but I think he owes a handshake to his teammate Omar Garcia for cleaning things up.
That goes out, throw-in coming up for Central.
And it's in these tight games where neither team has turned a scoring chance in yet, where it maybe starts to turn into which team makes the first mistake. It's not necessarily, at least yet, which team is able to manufacture the most perfect goal-scoring chance. It's just which team is going to take advantage of opponents' mistakes, and we almost saw one right there.
Good observation. I was just thinking the same thing myself. This game may be decided on a mistake, not some offensive rush.
And you can see Stuart Curtis, the one who gave it up moments ago, bending it a little bit farther away from Central on that last pass defensively.
South Albany takes it away. They given that go that time, broken up. That was broken up by Moshe Martinez.
Ozzy Ramirez, the one trying to start it and get it back, and he was a little disgruntled. He couldn't complete that give and go. We haven't called Ramirez's name very much, but he's one of the better players in this Red Hawk team. Honorable mention All-Conference a year ago. And that lanky midfielder you see right at the 45-yard line.
Throw in for Central. South Albany. Passes the ball at midfield, tries to get a shot ahead, broken up. Sanchez sends it off on a wing. Palacios. Throw-in coming up for the Redhawks.
Seems like it's been a while since South Albany has really gotten deep towards the central goal, so we'll see what they do with their first chance in a minute or two.
Central has had the more structured offensive moves forward. They've had somebody on a wing trying to get it into the middle, whereas the shots by South Albany so far have been those low screamers from 10, 20 yards out.
Yeah.
South Albany has a player forward. They set it up. There's a shot.
And there's another example. South Albany taking those long shots. Hubenya was the one who took that one. I would have liked to see him be a little bit more patient with that. Looked like he saw a quick opening and eyes got wide and wanted to fire off a quick shot, but he had some teammates down there. I would have liked to see another pass or two. He can get that shot pretty much all day to get a better look, be a little more patient.
He had 3 other players down there. Took that shot from outside. That ball goes out. That ball goes out off of number 7, Omar Seha. Pass in for South Albany. Cleared. Saved by South Albany and sent down towards the middle. Thanks for joining us here at Central High School in Independence. We are 25 minutes into the first half and we have no score. These are 40-minute halves. Number 4 on the give and go that time. That was Palacios. Still with the ball, now loses it. Off on the wing, knocked out of bounds.
Palacios lost on that last give and go, and he kind of turned to the referee after losing the ball as if to say, well, I took a little bit of contact. He did, but if he had continued running and allowed that contact to push him off the ball, he may have gotten that call, but because he stopped his momentum so quickly, it didn't really look like there was much contact to begin with. I would have think he could have gotten that call if he'd been a little bit more assertive.
Ariel Gonzalez over there for the Redhawks.
I like the passing, though, last couple of touches for South Albany, trying a few quick touch passes back and forth and maneuvering downfield.
Cisneros comes out and barely gets to that ball ahead of the Redhawk player.
Yeah, Ozzy Ramirez nearly had a chance to get there, and he would have liked to put a left foot on that one, but Cisneros just in time.
Ball goes out. It'll be a throw-in coming up for the Panthers.
And Jacob Glenn dealing with the sun. He's holding his hand up to cover a little bit, and the sun, in a matter of minutes, that'll cover right where he's at in goal, but that might give him some trouble if Central's able to get a shot off down there. He's kind of has his eyes right into the sun to his right.
He did have his hand up, shading. That goes out. It's going to be a throw-in coming up for Central. Ivan Ortiz tried to save that, just couldn't get there in time.
I'm sure by the second half you won't have that problem anymore. Well, it'll be Cisneros over in that goal anyways, but we'll see if Central's able to capitalize on that in the next few minutes.
Moshe Martinez with that throw-in that time, and that ball goes out. It goes out off of Israel Huerta. This is Palacios on the throw-in. 12 minutes left here in the first half. Throw in coming up for Central. It almost described this play so far as uneventful. There's been no real hard shots on goal.
Sometimes the matchups between two really good teams are like that. You know, you get two good squads who know how to play defense, even if they've got aggressive athletic forwards, and you might not get a lot of goals, at least not early. Brings to mind the 2010 World Cup, although that may be too dramatic of a comparison, but it took Spain almost the whole match before Iniesta got the only goal of that World Cup final.
And cleared away by Central. You mentioned Glenn was shading his eyes. He did actually move out of the sun, standing in the shade now. Throw-in coming up for Central. That won't be a problem, like you said, here in about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Cisneros with a goal kick. Low kick. Josh mentioned in the JV game, all the action started right about now.
Yeah. Central on a bit of a counterattack. This is Omar Seja trying to kick it across.
They reverse the field. Central now down the right side. Send across in front. Loose, knocked away. Great job defensively that time by the Redhawks.
Yeah, give Omar Garcia a lot of credit and perfect positioning to block that redirection from Brandon Lopez.
It just seems to me, Josh, that Central is getting more confident as we go along. They've been pushing players up.
They have seemed a little bit more able to mount quick attacks. South Albany has been a little bit slow at the point of attack, and Central has had a couple times. Obviously, they haven't converted it to a goal, but they've had a couple opportunities where they've got multiple men, and we may see a cross here into the middle.
There's a cross towards the middle, cleared away.
Nice job by Stuart Curtis to get it away. Here's Ozzy Ramirez trying the counterattack, although Central with numbers defensively.
And that's cleared away. Ramirez he actually held up and put his hands up. He was looking for one of those players to move forward.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he liked where Hubenyo was positioned, and Hubenyo couldn't get the accurate first touch. That's the difficult thing, especially at the high school level, is the first touch as you're moving downfield and you're in traffic, and it's so difficult to redirect the ball perfectly either for yourself or a teammate to get a good look.
We've just ticked under 9 minutes to go here in the first half. Still no score.
It takes so much time and practice and game experience as a forward to have the perfect amount to execute that, and Hubenyo's position there to accurately gauge the exact direction of the ball, to know where the defenders are even if you're not looking at them, to have perfect mindfulness of where everyone is on the pitch around you.
And, you know, we've not had many penalties. We've not had any really hard penalties. We've had no score. What have we had? We've had 2 corner kicks.
Yeah, 2 or 3. I think Central had 2 consecutively, so maybe 3 total, but you're right. Not really. I think we only had 1 or 2 fouls. No one in the book, no yellow or red cards.
There's a shot.
Ooh.
Cisneros down, blocks that. The rebound comes out. Cisneros comes out and gets it.
Ozzy Ramirez, the fireball shot from 30 yards out.
Again, a hard, low shot from a ways out. Cisneros down and got it. You want to stop a rebound if you can, but that ball came loose. Cisneros, to his credit, got right back up and grabbed it.
Yeah, if Ramirez had tried that same shot with a couple other forwards in the area, they may have gotten a rebound because that ball came pretty far out off of the hands of Cisneros. Some substitutes coming in. Brian Sanchez comes in for the first time tonight for South Albany. Out goes Uriel Gonzalez.
Approaching 7 minutes to go here in the first half. There's a whistle. A foul. Here's a free kick coming up for the Redhawks.
Also coming in, Vova Hubenya, the forward who's the closest player for South Albany on that last play. And I think he did replace Slava Hubenya. So sibling substitution there for the Redhawks. A couple of sibling pairings. One of the Lara brothers, there's a pair of twin brothers on this team for South Albany. His brother Sergio was the one who scored the first goal of the game in the JV match.
Ahead, Central, down the left side, can't get a crossing shot away. And that goes out. It'll be a throw-in coming up for Central.
A nice job by Stuart Curtis to force him towards the outside into the corner. I thought he was about to make a tackle right in the edge of the box, and he's got to be careful because even if you're at the very corner of the box, that would result in a penalty if he got a little bit too much of the feet. But he did a good job of controlling himself and not putting himself in a position to give up the penalty.
Throw in by Diaz, and there's a goal. Central with a goal. The throw in came in, it was bounced in front, and Diaz headed it in. I'm sorry, not Diaz. Diaz threw the ball. The goal was by Lopez.
And I think, Lopez, the closest one to it. It might go down as an own goal off of the head of Stuart Curtis because I think he was the last one to touch it. But you're right, Brandon Lopez, the one redirecting it off of Diaz's kick.
You know what? That was my first thought too, Josh. That might be an own man goal. South Albany now down 1-0. We'll credit the goal initially to Lopez. That's number 11. Unless we hear word differently, we'll give it to Brandon Lopez. But it is possible that was own team goal.
Yeah. 34th minute. A nice job for Central to get on the board first. And now we'll see how much their strategy changes. It's still early enough where you wouldn't want to see them getting too defensive and still attack strongly here in the first half. But we'll see if their mentality changes or if they can capitalize and get a second goal late in the first half. You see that a lot of times, especially at the high school level, of once one goal comes in, it's kind of the floodgates sort of open for that team or even both squads, and all of a sudden you see a flurry of goals. So we'll see if something happens late in the first half here.
On that throw-in that time by number 10, Diaz, he threw the ball in. South Albany did have a player standing at the corner there trying to help the goalie out. It hit his head, and maybe it hit Lopez's head, and went in the net.
Yeah.
I think the goalie was as surprised as anybody.
Right. Curtis was definitely the last one to touch it off of his head. I think Lopez had headed it for Central first, and maybe even if Curtis hadn't touched it, it might have still gone in. It may have still been on frame. In fact, if anything, it almost looked like when it bounced off of Curtis's head, it went a little bit back towards Glenn, the goalie. So I wouldn't really blame Curtis at all. It just kind of glanced off his head and went into the goal, and maybe technically an own goal, but nice job for Lopez to be in the right position.
So 4 minutes left. I'm not in favor of own goals. Let's give it to somebody on the other team.
Sure.
Let's give it to Lopez.
That sounds better.
Nice little heel kick that time by number 11. That is Brandon Lopez. Using his head, using his feet. It was a great throw-in pass, though, that time by Diaz.
Yeah. And I wonder that there's that little strip of sun over in the goal, over on the north side where Jacob Glenn is standing. And the ball came from the direction where the sun was in his eyes. I'm not sure if that made a significant difference or not, but I wonder if that played a little bit of a factor of not seeing the ball very well coming off the head of Lopez or off the throw-in from Diaz.
Good point. We're closing in on 3 minutes. South Albany with the ball, sends it in front, cleared away. And there's a whistle.
A chance for South Albany. I like the action from Reyes, the number 7, the one who was on ball there, who got the foul received there. I like the chance he took to kick the ball in and try to set up his teammate. And now South Albany a chance with a free kick about 25 yards out off a goal.
South Albany free kick.
I think it'll be Ramirez standing to the left of the ball, the farther one up screen that'll take it.
Sets up the wall. There's the kick, and it's high.
Yeah, it was Ramirez. Actually made it over the field goal post, so tack on 3 points on the board for South Albany.
And he just passed his tryout for the football team.
There you go. That would have been about a 30-yard field goal.
It would have.
Harder to kick a football with the snap and the hold and everything, but credit where credit's due to a certain degree.
2 minutes left in the half. 2 minutes. Central quickly down the right side. Still with the ball, looking to get something into the middle, and South Albany steals it away. 4 defenders back. Not a time to give up. A cheap goal. Minute 35 left to go in the first half. 1-0 our score. Central leads. Free kick.
It's not Diaz who's the one who set up their first goal. Now a chance to boot it in for his teammates and try to get a second one.
High kick, and that's going to go through the crossbars.
I'm surprised he tried to go straight on frame there. He had his teammates down close to the box, and that's a tough play to make a goal from that angle and that distance. I thought he was going to try to set up his teammates for a header close to the box, but I think his teammates knew the whole time. None of them really made a run on goal. They knew pretty much the whole time he's just going to go straight on frame with that kick, or tried to, but kicked it over the top.
Throw-in coming up for South Albany.
25 seconds. Here's Vova Hubenian trying to make something happen late in the first half, but Central gets it back.
Diaz forward with the ball for the Panthers. Still in control. And that ball, throw-in coming up. Panthers on the throw-in. They'll move everybody up forward. 2 seconds, 1 second. There's the horn. The first half is over here at Central High School, and our score at the end of the first half, it is Central 1, South Albany nothing. That goal came with 5:50 left to go here in the first half. We've given it to Brandon Lopez to make our score 1-0. But even with that, kind of a pretty evenly played first half, Josh.
Yeah, I think both teams had a fair amount of opportunities. I think the score accurately reflects how this match has gone so far. Central getting a few more chances down on goal, and you kind of knew with the amount of chances they got, they were going to turn one of those into a goal eventually. I wouldn't be surprised if South Albany got 1 or 2 goals here in the second half, though. So Central really got to focus offensively, getting an insurance goal or 2, and this one could be pretty evenly matched down the stretch in the second half.
All right, again, our score 1-0. Central leads South Albany at half in this 5A soccer matchup. It's the first league matchup for these two teams. I want to remind you, coming up here at Oregon Sports Beat, soccer Thursday night at 6 o'clock will be in Newport. That's Newport and Sisters for an exciting Oregon West Conference matchup. Friday night I'll be at Lincoln for the football game, and the Lincoln Cardinal will entertain the number 1 ranked 6A football team in the state. That's the Clackamas Cavaliers. So you can go to our website, OregonSportsBeat.com, and check on what we have coming up over the next 4 weeks. We're going to take a break here at halftime with Central leading 1-0. We'll be back for the second half, and Josh will have the play-by-play for you. We'll be right back. Welcome back to halftime here at Central High School in a 5A matchup. Our score at halftime is the Central Panthers 1, the South Albany Redhawks nothing. I'm Dave Hall, here for the second half play-by-play. Josh Warden.
All right, thank you, Dave. I went down to the other side of the box and double-checked on the scoring from our one goal from the first half. We were a little bit unsure if it was Brandon Lopez or Sam Curtis. Stuart Curtis, the defender for South Albany, and we were trying to decide would it be an own goal for Stuart Curtis or a goal by Brandon Lopez, and the official scoring was Lopez for Central, which we kind of like rather than an own goal. So credit to Brandon Lopez, 35th minute for Central to get on the board for the Panthers. 1-0 our halftime score here at Central High School, and beautiful, beautiful night for soccer. Great temperature, no clouds in the sky, great sight lines. This is just a great night for high school sports.
Not only a great night and how we look at all this and see everything, but two really, really good, well-coached teams.
Yeah.
We've both been talking during the first half. We haven't seen a lot of mistakes. We haven't seen a lot of penalties. Neither team took a timeout. We've only had a couple of corner kicks. Both these teams are playing at a very high level.
Yeah, nobody in the book, very few fouls, pretty quick first half by all accounts. No injuries also, which is also always good to see as these two teams are flipping sides. So on your monitor, you'll see South Albany going towards the north goal. That's on the left side of your screen, and Central going from left to right offensively. They're wearing the black uniforms with the white numbers, and you can see South Albany huddled up there in the white uniforms with the red trim and red pants. About to get things underway, second half action. My name's Josh Warden, joined by Dave Hall here in the booth for the Mid-Willamette Conference opener for these two very high-ranked teams, definitely contenders for the conference championship. Central won it last year. South Albany is right there at the top. The Redhawks ranked number 3 in the state at the 5A level, and Central just 2 slots behind at number 5.
You know, one thing I've noticed doing soccer over the last couple of years is you got to peak at the right time. You know, this isn't the game to peak on. This is an important game, but you want to peak at the end of the year.
And both of these teams trying to get momentum in the conference opener. Central at home. And Central on ball but losing it. It's back on defense here is Stuart Curtis, the one who avoided the own goal in the first half. Lopez, again, the scorer for Central in the first 40 minutes, and just getting things underway here in second half action.
That goal came at 5:40 left in the first half, the one by Brandon Lopez.
Omar Seha kicks it ahead, but Jacob Glenn collects it cleanly for South Albany. Glenn is the one in goal for South Albany. His counterpart is Zachary Cisneros for Central.
We mentioned during the first half that Sun was a factor for Glenn. Sun's not a factor for either one of the goalies now.
Looking for Seha, but Omar Garcia for South Albany cuts it off, and here's Ozzy Ramirez trying to get back on the attack for South Albany. Anthony Ariola over to Palacios. Back to Ariola, and Hubenya tries to make a run for South Albany. Nice defense there by Eduardo Gonzalez. Off the backside of Lopez, or that was Ariola. Palacios gives it away, and Central go in the opposite direction, but Palacios does a nice job to get it back, and Curtis over to Ortiz. Ivan Ortiz ahead to Hubenya, but defense applied for Gonzalez for Central.
We've not had any injuries here that to speak of in the first half.
Cisneros, the big boot, goes under the foot of Curtis. A chance for Central.
That's Diaz. Diaz with a shot and Diaz with a goal.
Another one for Central, and they lead 2-0.
Did I get that right, or was that? I thought it was 11 on the goal.
11, yeah. Brandon Lopez.
Okay.
Nice job for Central to get their second goal of the match, and you could see right as it got past the first South Albany defender, Lopez had his eye on the ball and got him there. An open net for Lopez to knock it through, and Central leads 2-0.
So that's 2 goals for Lopez in the last 8 minutes.
And you wonder how South Albany's going to respond. Palacios lets the ball go under his foot, an unforced error there for South Albany. And I'm sure Tony Vandermeer, their head coach, trying to get things settled down a little bit and get some offense for his team, as Lopez already trying to get back on the attack for another goal. Curtis to boot it away for the Redhawks. Ubenya can't control it, but headed out by Gonzalez of Central. Palacios to Ramirez. Ortiz can't control it. Another opportunity for Central. Here is Sebastian Diaz down the middle. Takes contact. No call yet as he's rolling. He's on the ground. That's Diaz, and a yellow card comes in. That'll go against South Albany. Sebastian Diaz, the Central player who got undercut, and he's still lying on the ground, and a yellow card will go against the Redhawks.
Did you see which player it was on the Redhawks?
Wasn't sure which player made the tackle there. I didn't. He held the yellow card up, but there wasn't a Redhawk player standing directly in front of him.
There's a player going off over there.
That's Garcia, the one running towards the sideline. Not sure if he was the one getting the yellow card. Coming into, obviously at 1 yellow card, it's fine, but 2 would equal a red. Haven't gotten the number yet on the new player coming in. Looks like that's 15, who normally in the roster is Brian Sanchez, but there's a new player wearing 15 for South Albany, Daniel Lara. Tony Vandermeer texted me before the game. It's always nice when the head coach for one of the teams texts you about roster updates. Otherwise, I'd be calling him Brian Sanchez, but that's Daniel Lara. South Albany's defensive front makes the stop there.
So the yellow card was issued to number 7, and that's Carlos Reyes. Is that your understanding? He's standing over there, so I'm assuming that was it. No other player came off.
Didn't see exactly, but Reyes is number 7. Kicks it ahead. Here's Ozzy Ramirez. That may have been on frame, but a nice job getting back on defense from Moshe Martinez to block that one away.
Big time block.
Ortiz or Palacios coming in, or actually that's Lara, who just checked into this game, makes a nice tackle to get that ball out of play. And so far out of play that Cortez has to climb into some bleachers over on the sideline to retrieve the ball.
You're right down here. That was a hard shot by the Redhawks. One of those low driving kicks that they like, and the block was just perfect.
Yeah, Moshe Martinez, the one who slid in and made a really nice block for Central off the foot of Ramirez, the all-conference player from last year, trying to get his first goal of this match for the Redhawks. But Central still holding on to that clean sheet tonight. For South Albany, here's Carlos Reyes making a run down the right side. Ubenya is the one in the middle. Reyes makes one juke. Shot on frame, but Cisneros easily in position for the save. So South Albany getting a couple chances. Already a couple shots here early in the second half, although Central has scored 1 goal in the first half, 1 goal in the second. It was Lopez on both accounts. Brandon Lopez, the senior forward for Central, scoring both goals tonight for the Panthers.
Cisneros kicked that ball 60 yards in the air just then.
Wow. He should be a punter as well for the football team. Speaking of the football team, Central will play Friday night, and they're facing South Albany. So these two schools will face each other on the football field as well, and that should be a good matchup because both of those teams are 2-2 and right on the edge of the playoff bubble. The top 5 teams of the Mid-Willamette Conference advance to the postseason football-wise, and both of those teams are right on the edge. So a good football matchup as well for these two schools on Friday night. Rincon passes it to his teammate. This is Seha. And then Rosas gives it up, but Central will retain possession with that foul call. Raul Medrano, the center referee, with the ball at his feet. Next to Sebastian Diaz, the Central player, standing next to him. Brandon Lopez standing about 2 feet in front of the face of the goal, but blocked away by Ortiz of South Albany. Back to Martinez for Central. Almost gave it away. Martinez keeps it. Fights through a couple of defenders. Here's Seha in the edge. Can he bend it in for a corner? Oh, a nice kick in by Seha, but Marco Rosas couldn't redirect it on frame.
Nice crossing ball that time, just nobody there to head it in.
Ortiz will kick it for South Albany. Or Curtis now, excuse me. Nunez on the ball for South Albany, the one who just kicked it. Haven't mentioned his name yet tonight, but he's making, I believe, his first start of the season. Normally, Victor Rios would be starting in that left back position, but Nunez replacing him due to a minor injury.
One player I've been following is number 4, and that is Juan Palacios. Had a great first half and has been all over the field defensively here in the second half.
Palacios, the senior forward, has been very active tonight. He's behind the ball over on the right side, about 20 yards away from Ariola, the one who either he or Ramirez, who are conferring right now over the ball. Ramirez steps off, so you'll see Ariola kicking it at about the 26-yard line. Ariola, almost deflected in. Curtis might have gotten some contact on that to push it towards goal, but Cisneros got over just inside the corner of the goal to push it away.
Nice sliding save that time by Cisneros.
Hubenya almost came in to poke that one in, but now Central on the counterattack. Diaz, the one making the run down the right sideline. Almost lost it, gets it right back, and Diaz fighting between multiple defenders and then gets undercut by Uriel Gonzalez.
Sebastian Diaz with good speed. Doesn't it seem like everything that Central has gotten involved in the middle, in front, their goals, somehow Sebastian Diaz has been involved in it?
Yeah, Lopez has been the one with the goals, but you're right. Sebastian Diaz, he was the one who made the throw in that set up the first goal of this matchup, and he's right in the center of what pretty much everything Central does, and he is wearing number 10, the one about to kick this ball for the Panthers. Bends it in and trying to redirect it off goal. That was Lopez, the one who got contact on it, but it'll be a goal kick for Jacob Glenn, or actually Stuart Curtis will kick it away. He's the one who takes the goal kicks for the Redhawks.
Glenn, that time, another South Albany player, came back and stood in the goal mouth with him, and he pushed him out of the way. Said, I want to see this myself.
Diaz kicked that one. It was off the neck area of Ariola, and now Hubenya with it towards the South Albany corner. There's two Hubenyas. This is Slava Hubenya, currently in for the Redhawks, one of the forwards for South Albany, a senior. but going the opposite way for the Panthers now.
His brother is the sophomore.
Yeah. Vova Hubenya. Ramirez tries to boots it ahead for Hubenya. Has a chance here, but kicked away. Nice defense. I believe that was Gonzalez for Central to get that one away and prevent what could have been a really nice opportunity for Hubenya. Nunez to Ramirez. Back to Ramirez. A chance for South Albany, and that's Carlos Reyes. Tried to get the left foot back on goal, but couldn't get it on frame.
See, he got his foot out to the side, almost perpendicular to the field, and was going to try to flick that one in.
Yeah. And then almost kicks it off. That's still Reyes. And now Cisneros has to track the ball down well behind goal. The other ball went all the way back across the track about 40 yards behind the goal.
When the goalie doesn't have an extra ball laying there in the back of the net,
right,
somebody's got to go get that one.
And now he not only does he go back to get the one that was just kicked out, but he gets the extra one as well. So prepares himself for the next time this happens.
Of course, clock's running while all this is going on.
Right, and I don't think he minds that with the 2-goal advantage. 27 minutes and 40 seconds to go, second half action. If South Albany is able to make a comeback and score a couple goals, there's no overtime in regular season matches in high school play. We just end in a tie. Both of these teams have one tie this season as Diaz took a shot there.
Took two shots.
Lopez, wearing number 11. Still running towards the center of the field as Seha making a run for Central, tries to boot it on goal and almost put it on frame.
Glenn came out that time for the challenge and fell down. And while he was down, they got Central got that great shot off.
Omar
so the
Seha.
the goal frame was open.
Yeah, he was a bit of an angle, so it wasn't an easy shot for Seha, but he was almost able to capitalize for Central's third goal of the match. Rincon takes a bit of a bump from Ramirez, but no call. Ozzy Ramirez, some fancy footwork, almost gave it away. Here's Reyes off his quadricep and out of bounds.
You know, Reyes tried to take that ball off his upper leg and drop it right next to him so he could get a kick forward. It was a great plan.
A little bit too hot off of his thigh. Ramirez getting back for South Albany over to Palacios on the far side. Gets past one defender. Gets it ahead to Ortiz, but kicked away by Gonzalez for Central. Ivan Ortiz was in position if there was a mistake made for Central, but doesn't get a chance. Diaz wanted an opportunity on that one. Sebastian Diaz almost had a chance there for the Panthers going the other way.
Foul. It'll be a free kick coming up for South Albany.
Curtis, the low driving kick. Ortiz gets it ahead to Hubenya. Back to Ortiz, to Reyes, but gives it away. Nice defense there for Moshe Martinez. But South Albany will get it right back. 2-0 here at Central High School. Both goals coming in this match by Brandon Lopez. One in the first half, one in the second. Gives Central a 2-0 lead. And there is Lopez wearing number 11. Ahead to Seha. But Seha has it taken away. Nice play by Lara. Gets it ahead to Ramirez. Here's Ozzy Ramirez. Can he make something happen in the corner? And he might have earned a corner kick out of it, and that's exactly what he did. Nice job to earn a chance for his Red Hawk team. Stuart Curtis coming up from his defender spot. He's the one far side on the upper part of your screen. Taking this corner is Ivan Ortiz. Bends it to the far side. Curtis in the area, headed away for Central. Stuart Curtis was right in the area. Ariola for South Albany gives it away. Nunez with it now to Reyes. In some traffic. Keeps it alive. Gets it ahead to Gonzalez. Uriel Gonzalez will earn a corner off the foot of Moshe Martinez. So similar opportunity for South Albany. Only really 3 defenders back for the Redhawks. So a lot of players in the box, about 6 of them in or near the box right now for South Albany. Ortiz will kick it for the Redhawks. Bends it in, headed away again. And almost a shot for Areola, but couldn't collect himself to get a shot. Here's Palacios making sure South Albany doesn't give up a chance going the other way. Here's Hubenya, the left-footed from about 20 yards out, but doesn't get much on it. Thought Ramirez may have been hurt earlier. He was laying on the ground, and I thought he was motioning for a trainer to come out, or he may be asking for a substitute. Ozzy Ramirez is holding one of his hands. Hopefully not too serious, but he's able to play, at least for the moment. He's standing over near the 50-yard line, kind of looking towards his bench, but at the moment, no substitute is getting up to check him out of the game. Ramirez, the honorable mention all-conference player last year. Substitute coming in for Central. Alex Jimenez comes in for the Panthers. Here is Ozzy Ramirez. Strong boot ahead for his teammate Reyes, trying to make a run, kicked out by Jimenez, who just checked in and flicks it away, but South Albany will have a throw in. This is about the spot, Dave, where Diaz had the throw in to make Central's first goal of this match.
We're 18 minutes into the second half, 22 minutes left. Well, they've got the ball set down like for a corner kick. No, there's the throw in.
Reyes tosses it all the way into the box. Strong throw, but Central in good position. Palacios uses a bit of an arm to make space for himself ahead to Ramirez, and that ball off of Central.
Is that a polite way of saying you shove somebody out of the way?
That's exactly what I was going for, the polite way. If there's no foul called, I'm not going to make him sound worse than it actually was. A bit of a shove, but didn't make it look too bad. And no flop, which was nice. Diaz kicks it right up into Nunez, who uses his body to block it away. Reyes in there for South Albany as well as Hubenya, but Central gets it away. Ramirez earns it back. Nice ball handling for Palacios. Ramirez making a run. Here's Palacios in the box. And Palacios gets a corner. That ball kicked out off the foot of a Central defender.
And somebody's got to go get that ball because the other ball is not in the net.
It's not like professional soccer where there's a handful of ball boys littered around the sideline ready to throw in a ball every time one is kicked out. So there's one extra one usually on each net, but it's not always. Sometimes both of them get kicked out pretty far. Here's the corner off of Ortiz. Hubenya was the closest one to it, but South Albany can't get a shot on frame. Here's Diaz.
Great run forward.
Perroquin, first time we've called his name tonight, but defended well for South Albany. Ozzy Ramirez uses his body to make space against Rincon. Ramirez loses it for a moment. Rincon almost got the takeaway. The freshman against the senior midfielder. Here's Hubenya. Can he make a chance? Yes, he can. No, that's Stuart Curtis, the defender. The senior defender, Stuart Curtis, gets South Albany on the board, and the Redhawks cut into the lead.
You can see there was confusion that time by Central. The ball got in the middle. There were two defenders. They both collided in there. The Curtis broke free, came straight in on the goalie, and just zeroed it into the net.
And Stuart Curtis, an attacking defender who will play up a lot. In fact, you can already see him essentially playing forward mid or even a forward spot, even though he's listed as a defender, and he'll get back. But Tony Vandermeer, the head coach for South Albany, making some adjustments and essentially adding Stuart Curtis as a third forward. His team usually runs a 5-3-2 formation, but Curtis is flexible enough to kind of play in that attacking position, and he gets a goal out of it. So Tony Vandermeer putting his team in position to tie this ball game up.
Psychologically, there's a big difference between being down 2-0 and 2-1. Yeah. Another goal ties this up.
And some of the most high-scoring situations in soccer is right after a goal has been scored. Once one comes in, that's oftentimes a chance for one or two more. So plenty of time also for South Albany. 19 minutes to go, and only one goal away from tying this matchup up, and there'd be a huge difference between a one-goal loss and a tie. And we'll see what happens. Here's Ozzy Ramirez in the corner, can't control it, and gives it away to Central.
Cisneros had virtually no shot on that goal. It was one-on-one, and Curtis just rocketed it by him.
So Central gives up its first goal of the match. The Panthers had 2 clean sheets coming into this matchup, but will not get a third one tonight. Nice to see South Albany scoring. They've had some difficulty offensively in the last couple of matchups. After scoring 5 goals in 2 consecutive matches, then they go to a tie, 1-1 tie with Hillsborough, and then their last matchup got blanked 3-0 against Summit. So in their last 2 matches, they had only scored 1 goal. But finally getting another goal here tonight for South Albany, as Gonzalez gets it ahead to Curtis, who scored that last goal. Wants a second one. Almost got his second from about 20 yards out, just off frame.
Cisneros was an acrobatic jump that time, but the ball was just wide left.
It almost looked like Cisneros may have gotten a piece of it, but he did not touch it. So a goal kick upcoming for Central. But Stuart Curtis almost turned around and flicked that one just inside the post to tie this matchup at 2 apiece.
Curtis is a senior, so he's using that experience.
He's playing more in that midfield position that South Albany's kind of switched to a 4-3-3, although they started with a 5-3-2. So a little bit more of an attacking formation, bringing Curtis up. And that dividend paid off already as Curtis netted the goal just a couple of minutes ago. Brandon Lopez, the one who scored both goals for Central. And here is Lopez trying to get ahead to his teammate, but blocked away nicely by South Albany. Might have been a handball.
I think that is the call. It'll be a free kick coming up here for South Albany.
Seha, the one for Central, looked inadvertent but off his hand. And here's Reyes for South Albany. Ahead to Ramirez. Can he make something happen for the Red Hawks? Ozzy Ramirez just off the inside post. Cisneros was diving for it, and I don't think he would have been there in time if Ramirez just had gotten it a foot or two to the right. Ramirez, the one with the kick. Nice setup for South Albany. They traveled quickly after that free kick from about 80 yards away, and only 2 passes later got a pretty good shot. So well done by the Red Hawks to set up a scoring opportunity. Going the other way is Seha for Central in the corner. Can he bend it across? Nice fake for Omar Seha, but kicked away. That was Lara for South Albany. Daniel Lara wearing number 15. Normally Sanchez wears that number. Brian Sanchez. But Brandon Lara getting a chance to come up from JV to play a matchup and getting some playing time in a pretty critical game. But it is Lopez who needs some attention from the athletic trainer. He's sitting over on the 12-yard line.
Josh, does it seem to you like South Albany right now is getting the better opportunities? They've actually had 2, well, counting the goal, 3 plays where they were one-on-one with the ball in front of the net with the goalie. They've shot 2 of those wide left. The other one, they shot in the net, but they have the goalie Cisneros under attack right now.
He's been active, and he's needed to be. You're right. I think this game has flipped a little bit momentum-wise. And Central was the one getting a lot of opportunities in the first half and even the beginning of the second half. But now Central has had a few chances in the last 10, 15 minutes, but the majority of the time we've been looking to the left side of the field and seeing what South Albany is doing as Brandon Lopez is able to walk off. He's the one who scored both goals tonight for Central. As we got a stoppage in action with 15 minutes and 30 seconds to go in the second half here at Central High School. Thanks for joining us. Josh Warren's my name, joined by Dave Hall for this 5A matchup between two Mid-Willamette Conference teams, two of the best teams in the state. South Albany number 3, Central number 5 at the 5A level. And Central, the defending Mid-Willamette Conference champions. And their head coach, Joe Orozco, last year named Coach of the Year in the conference. Tony Vandermeer, his counterpart tonight, has some experience across multiple different Mid-Willamette Conference teams. He started out his career at Lebanon High School with the girls team. Also coaches Corvallis, also with the girls team. He was a coach at Redmond. And now at South Albany. He also coached in Korea for a while. Or he was really the athletic director at a school in South Korea. Here's Stuart Curtis for South Albany, who scored their lone goal. To the outside to Juan Palacios. Kicks it back towards the middle, but nice job by Central to get away. And there's Omar Garcia kicking it out for the Redhawks.
Central keeping more players back on defense now. That time they only had 2 players forward. Everybody else was back.
So we'll see if Central can kind of flip the script and manufacture an opportunity here on a throw-in. Rincon here, a big boot from Diaz, trying to score from about 40 yards away, but Glenn had plenty of time to walk over there and scoop it up cleanly. See what South Albany does strategy-wise is time ticking down a little bit under the 14-minute mark and still trailing by 1 goal, but Central an opportunity here. Lopez knocked into Jacob Glenn, a little bit of contact there. Glenn almost lost the ball, but gets it away.
Glenn actually initiated that contact. He jumped into the defender, going after the ball.
Ramirez ahead to Stuart Curtis. Booted away initially, but Central not able to clear it. Curtis trying to bounce it up and kick it in with the right foot. Would have been a fancy goal, but didn't really get all of it. Bounce it up with the knee and try to twist. And kind of did a similar thing with the left foot earlier. Neither time has he really gotten a firm kick on it. Central with the chance, but booted out.
See, Josh, again, only 2 players really forward for Central.
Yeah.
They're holding more players back and playing defensively. Not, that's obviously the strategy they're going with right now.
Definitely not as aggressive here in the second half. You can see why, holding a 1-goal lead. And to get out of here with a 2-1 win would be a huge victory for Joe Orozco and this Central squad to start out their Mid-Willamette Conference slate against one of their best counterparts in the league with a win if they can hold on to this 2-1 advantage. But here is a scoring opportunity for Central. But South Albany getting away. Here's Reyes heading it back to Ramirez. Ramirez gets it back from Rincon, but then stolen right back from Central. Both teams giving it back and forth quickly. Rincon, the freshman, heads it nicely to Hubenya. Reyes, the one for South Albany, up ahead trying to track it down. Can't get there.
Right now, there's certainly been more play at midfield than there was in the first half. The shot.
Blocked away. Coming in was Martinez. Rosas had an opportunity, but clipped away by a defender. Ivan Ortiz trying to get it away. Rosas again kicks it in, and now has to backtrack off of the deflection. Marco Rosas lets it go out of bounds for the Panthers.
No sooner did I say that they were playing defensively than they came down and they had 4 shots at the goal.
Yeah, now the last minute or two, it's been mostly Central on the attack and in the South Albany side of the field. And that looks like it might bring up a corner kick. Yes, it will. So Central a chance with the corner to possibly extend their lead. Haven't gotten a goal since early in the second half when Brandon Lopez got his second goal of the game, and that's how he got to 2-0. Now 2-1. Ramirez gets it for South Albany going down the near sideline. Quickly tracked down by Lopez. Takes some contact from Lopez. Wants a foul, and he will get it. So Ozzy Ramirez, hampered by Brandon Lopez, and South Albany will get the ball back.
We're very close to 10 minutes left in this game.
Ramirez boots it deep. Here's Ortiz to Reyes. Can Reyes put it in for Stuart Curtis, the one he was looking for? Tipped away. Here's Juan Palacios. And Ozzy Ramirez, the one on ball now with this throw in for South Albany. Or maybe he'll give it up to Reyes. No, it'll be Ramirez to Hubenya. Reyes up in the top of the goal, off the top. Reyes almost got it in, just a couple inches lower, and that one would have found the back of the net. Carlos Reyes almost had the tying equalizer.
Just hammered the ball from about the 10-yard line. It hit the crossbar. Hit it hard, too.
Yeah. That one had a lot of velocity off the left foot of Carlos Reyes, and just too high. Cisneros didn't have much of a chance of stopping that one. South Albany still opportunities, though. Here is Reyes on the far side. Nice move to get it into Hubenya. Ortiz now in the area, but kicked away by Central. Here's Garcia for South Albany trying to get it back to his attacking midfielders. Hubenya can't control that one and booted out of bounds by Eduardo Gonzalez, the senior defender for Central. Under 9 minutes to go now in this match. Can South Albany manufacture a similar opportunity to the one they just got moments ago and tie this game up? Or will Central walk out of here on their home field with the win? Omar Seha boots it deep, but it looks like it went out of bounds prior to that kick.
Throw in for South Albany, 8:26 left to go here in the final half. Zachary Cisneros, the junior goalkeeper, hoping that his defenders will play strongly and keep this 1-goal lead intact, but throwing up coming for the Redhawks. Comes into the box, but no South Albany player in perfect position to capitalize on it. Palacios trying to track it down as Lopez is right there. Gives it back to Garcia and all the way back to the goalkeeper, Glenn. Ramirez and Rincon battling for it. Ramirez, nice touch to earn it back, and steps on the ball and loses it. Just stepped a little bit too far and got his cleat right on the ball. And now Central trying to capitalize. Lopez the one with it. Then Brandon Lara heads it away, and this will result in a corner. So Lara doing a nice job to get back on defense, but couldn't get it out on the sideline, so corner upcoming for the Panthers. Diaz back there involved in all of that again. He'll take the corner kick, I believe.
Omar Seha is on the far post for Central. Diaz in the front side of the box goes out to Rincon. And Rincon loses it. Reyes trying to do something with it for South Albany. Hubenya gets it ahead. Ramirez tracking it down for the Redhawks. And a little bit behind Reyes, who is running in for the potential header, although South Albany does retain possession. Goes past the foot of Reyes, kicked away for Central. It was Moshe Martinez who booted away, and then he came up limping after kicking that ball. Not sure if it hit his foot awkwardly or what the issue was with Moshe Martinez, but he came up in pain right after kicking that ball. It was a nice deflection by Martinez to clear it.
Referee stops the clock. The trainer out on the field.
So clock stops, 6:21 to go. Hopefully just a cramp as they're stretching out his left leg. Moshe Martinez, the one on his back for Central. The senior defender.
The play by Reyes where he hit the crossbar was sure an exciting play.
Yeah.
I mean, he kicked that ball as hard as anybody's kicked the ball all night long, and it just slammed into the crossbar.
And if this match ends in the score we've got now, 2-1 in favor of Central, South Albany can honestly say they were inches away from ending this game in a tie. I mean, just a couple inches lower, and that would have deflected off the bar in. Because it still deflected downwards. It didn't go in the goal, but it bounced down off of the crossbar.
I'd rather lose a game by 10 than lose by an inch.
That's fair. And it all goes into the book the same way.
Right.
So pick your poison, essentially.
You don't get to put notes next to the losses.
Right. We lost, but just barely.
Just
so
barely,
put us
right.
in the playoffs anyways, please.
Right.
Moshe Martinez now standing up for Central, kind of working out that foot. So that's a good sign. Hopefully just a calf cramp, perhaps.
Well, that is really a good sign to see him jumping up and down.
Nice work by the trainers to help him out, and he'll walk off for Central. Don't believe they've substituted a player in for him yet. They're now running. They do have one sub coming in. It'll be Edwin Perroquin coming in to replace him for the Panthers. So clock will restart momentarily. 6:21 on the scoreboard right now. South Albany down by 1 goal, but a chance to equalize it here on the free kick. Hubenya and Ramirez are the ones splitting the ball. Ramirez is the one nearer. It's Hubenya kicking it with the left foot, deflected. Nice job by Central. Alex Jimenez headed it away. I'm not sure if Zachary Cisneros would have been able to get to that ball or if it was on frame exactly, but nice job by Jimenez to head it away.
Deflected up in the air, a corner kick.
Ivan Ortiz bends it in, but knocked away by Lopez. Good job of defense by Lopez, who's flashed his offense tonight with a couple of goal scores, and he turns that corner kick into a throw-in for Ortiz. Diaz heads it backwards upfield for Central. Garcia has to collect it for South Albany to stop that run for the Panthers. Reyes loses it. Here's Diaz. Ahead to Lopez, looking for his third goal. Can't track it down, and Garcia kicks it away.
There was a hat trick right in front of Brandon Lopez. The goalie was out. All he had to do was get it around him.
Edwin Perroquin wanted a foul on that play, the Central player. 5 minutes to go here in this ball game. 2-1 in favor of Central, and they have possession. Perroquin checks out for Central. In replacing is Omar Seha. Central content to let the pace of play slow for a little bit, as long as that means South Albany isn't able to get something going on the opposite side of the field as Diaz throws it in. Looking for Lopez, kicked away. Ramirez can't get it. Diaz kicks it. Wow, what a shot by Sebastian Diaz. And that tested Jacob Glenn, but he was up to the task.
25 yards out, a rocket.
Ramirez ahead to Reyes. On the far side, Reyes working back towards the middle, left-footed. Cisneros with the leg gets it away. Ramirez comes in to try to clean it up.
Great left-footed kick that time and a great save by Cisneros.
Nicely done by Central to hold on to this one-goal lead. And South Albany has had their chances, but yet to convert, and only 3.5 minutes left to make it happen and try to tie this game up. Lopez, nice kick over his shoulder. Back to Brandon Lara. Ramirez. Nice footwork to Palacios. Hubenya. Slava Hubenya, can he? Well, he'll let it go for the corner. Thought he might cross it in there, but he elects to set things up, and we'll see what South Albany can do. Ivan Ortiz comes in to boot it for the Redhawks. Quickly bends it in. Oh, a chance on just over the crossbar.
You know, they had that set up. The corner kick came in. It was intended for a header in the middle. Got a head on the ball, but headed it over the top of the net. It was a well-designed play, just not well executed.
Carlos Reyes had great positioning to run in right over the center of the face of goal. And maybe Cisneros would have been able to save it if it was on frame, depending on where Reyes placed it, but got it over, and no chance for Reyes. And he's the one who had that would bounced off the crossbar earlier in this half that would have tied it. So Reyes, a couple of really close chances. Central going the other way. Nice header, but not really able to clear it. Lara gets it out. Stuart Curtis with it. Nice job by Martinez to win it.
2 minutes.
Glenn storms in to make sure Lopez didn't have a chance for the hat trick. Lopez already with 2 goals to his name, and he was just a few feet away from Glenn if Glenn didn't field that ball cleanly. Minute 45 on the clock. Palacios. Ortiz. Uriel Gonzalez.
We'll see if South Albany moves everybody forward.
You can hear the fans in the crowd getting a little tense. With just over a minute to go. Central trying to hang on for a big victory that would give them huge momentum in the Mid-Willamette Conference. Here's Reyes. Missed the goal moments ago. Has his feet taken out from under him and injured. And a couple players from each side going down now as the clock continues to run at a minute and now under a minute, and finally stops at 58 seconds. Both Carlos Reyes for South Albany and a Central player laying on their backs. We had one player cramping earlier, Martinez, and hopefully just similar issues for both of these players.
Well, it looks like the Central player, it looks like that's the issue. One of his teammates is helping him.
Yeah.
There was a big collision. 2 players are down, 1 for each team. Referee did stop the clock. We're at 57.8 seconds left to go in the game. 2-1 Central leads.
Carlos Reyes was the one for South Albany in traffic right where he's currently laying down and took a bit of a hit. It will be a free kick for South Albany once play resumes. Reyes is the one who was just helped up to his feet by his teammate Palacios.
All right, the Central player is up. Kind of walking around, kind of flexing his leg there. That Central player, that's number 8. It's Marco Rosas. And it looks like he's going to stay in the game. Free kick coming up.
So big opportunity for South Albany to try to tie this game up. Oh, almost. So close for South Albany. And they've had chances tonight. That was Slava Hubenya, the one who came in to get the header. His momentum took him left, and he headed it just outside the post.
You know, that's twice in the last 5 minutes. They've had set up a header and not been able to get it. We're down to 30 seconds left in this game.
South Albany needs a takeaway and a quick counterattack. They may only have one chance left. But Central, Rincon with it. The freshman passes ahead to his teammate. South Albany gets it back. Palacios with 20 seconds to go. Stuart Curtis on what may be the last chance tonight. It goes through the feet of Reyes. Kicked out. Gonzalez for South Albany trying to get it.
10
Foul
seconds.
called. 7 seconds and counting. Rincon kicks it with the back of his foot away, and he's going to get booked for it. The freshman tries to waste a little bit of time, and he was the one who kicked it out of bounds.
I'll tell you what South Albany is arguing about right now. When the referee decided to make that call, the clock kept running.
Yeah.
He should have raised his hand and stopped the clock, and that's what South Albany was complaining about.
4.8 seconds. Uriel Gonzalez is the one who will kick it. And perhaps just enough time if they get a header. Last chance of the game for South Albany to tie it. Gonzalez was the one who's going to kick it. Here's Ozzy Ramirez who comes in. 36-yard line, so this is about 40 or 50 yards away from the goal. Even the goalie, Jacob Glenn, might as well. No reason to wait back. He got 4.8 seconds left. So everybody, except for Ozzy Ramirez, Juan Palacios backs up to the 25 to give himself a chance to run up. So here's Ramirez. Booted away, and I don't think South Albany's going to have time. The clock runs out. Central has held on for a 2-1 victory to open up the Mid-Willamette Conference 1-0.
Each team with a goal there in the second half, but that first goal in the first half wound up being the difference. 2-1 our final score here at Central High School as Central defeats South Albany 2-1.
Well, we knew these two teams would be evenly matched. The number 3 South Albany squad, the number 5 Central squad. Brandon Lopez, the hero tonight for the Panthers, scored in the first half in the 34th minute, scored in the second half. Stuart Curtis was the one for South Albany to get on the board for the Red Hawks, but that was the only scoring left. And South Albany had chances late in the second half. Carlos Reyes had a rocket that went off the post. He had a header that went just over the bar. Even in the final seconds, that was sort of a microcosm of this whole matchup with South Albany getting chances. They were close, but Central was the better team tonight.
You know, you get down to the end of this game, and what do I think about this game? This is two teams evenly matched.
Yeah.
This is Central with a win at home. What's going to happen when these two teams go to South Albany? You know, that'll be the big test. Can Central win on the other team's turf? These two teams evenly matched, and I'll say this for South Albany, down 2-1 with about 5 minutes to go in this game. They put it together and really, really hustled, tried to get that other goal. Like you said, had some great opportunities. Reyes with that hard shot off the crossbar. But these are two teams, you know what, they're going to see each other again probably after league play.
I wouldn't be surprised. Two very good teams that could make waves in the postseason. Well, next up for South Albany, they play Thursday against North Salem. Oregon Sports Beat, by the way, will broadcast their match October 13th against Corvallis. So that should be a good matchup. So tune in for that one, October 13th, between the Spartans and Red Hawks. Next up for Central, they'll play Thursday at Corvallis. So a 4-match win streak now for the Central Panthers.
I want to remind you, we'll be with you at Oregon Sports Beat on Thursday night in Newport. Newport and Sisters in a boys 4A soccer match. I'll be back with you on Friday night for football. Lincoln and number 1 ranked Clackamas in a 6A matchup. I want to thank our crew tonight, our producer, cameraman, engineer, Ryan Johnson. He's in the booth next to us. In the booth with us here, our director, Jim Thompson, running all the audio equipment. Josh, it's been great working with you again.
You too, Dave. It's been a pleasure and a great matchup. And a great game. We saw some excitement here. Started out a little slow, but 3 goals and Central winning it 2-1. So for Dave Hall, Jim Thompson, and Ryan Johnson, I'm Josh Warden signing off from Central High School, where the Panthers have claimed victory against the South Albany Redhawks by the score of 2-1. Thanks for listening for this broadcast on Oregon Sports Beat.